What up, what up, what up? What up, what up, what up? It's your boy J Real at the Real Hip Hop Show, where hip hop is everything and everything is hip hop. Y'all already know how we do it, man. You know what I mean? It's another great Sunday night. You know what I mean? I know a lot of y'all probably sitting back watching the game or whatever you're doing, and that's cool. You know what I mean? But you can still listen to the Real Hip Hop Show. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, man, you know already know how we do it, man. We do it for the culture. You know what I'm saying? Represent the real hip hop. Shit like that. You know what I mean? Speaking of real hip hop, you know what I'm saying? I got one of my homeboys up in here with me tonight. You know what I mean? Ronny Too Real. What's good, my G?
What's good, my brother?
Nothing much.
It's your boy Ronny Too Real, y'all. I'm out of L.A. Watch all over the city. And, yo, I just want to say thank you, J Real, for always having that welcome mat laid out for your boy, man. I really appreciate that, bro. Thank you.
Oh, man, that ain't never a problem, my G. Because, you know, like I said, man, you always have supported the show, and I've always supported everything I've heard from you, which I always thought was dope. You know what I mean? So, you know, it ain't never no problem, man.
Righteous. Well, shit, last time you told me you told me you was going to have me in here again, man. I told you I'd be back.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was just going to say to you right there. Like, I told you you'd be back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all day.
Which is real dope, you know what I mean? So, you know what I'm saying? Now, I know who Ronny Too Real is, and some of y'all know who Ronny Too Real is because y'all have heard his music on the show, you know what I mean? But, you know how I do. I like for them to introduce themselves. So, Ronny Too Real, introduce yourself, my G.
Yeah, your boy Ronny Too Real. Like I said, I'm a West Coast artist, but I try to stay international. I grew up on both sides of the coast. I grew up in Rochester, New York for half of my life. Then I started moving around the country, picking up different little pieces of culture and, you know, inserting that into my life. Right now I reside in L.A. and, man, this just due to some serious networking and heavy grind, I made my way to be introduced to J Real, you know, way out in North Carolina. And, man, the rest is history as far as that go. But, man, I'm just really happy to be here, and I got a whole lot of good things in the making, and a lot of it I wouldn't even be motivated to do as much if we didn't have the Real Hip Hop Show, man. And I really appreciate that shit, man, for real.
Oh, yeah, man. You already know how we do it, man. East to West Coast, you know what I'm saying? It's the Real Hip Hop Show, man.
Yeah.
We trying to be everywhere, you know what I mean? Especially, you know what I mean, dope artists like yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we always got to make sure, you know, we bring artists like you on, make sure artists like you get heard, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. Now, Ronny Too Real is the prime example, you know what I mean, of what I be telling y'all about your grind and how you should grind and things that you should do and things that you should know and ways to support people that support you. He's the prime example of what I mean when I say that to y'all. But, you know what I mean, this brother's been, you know what I'm saying, working for a while, pushing his music, pushing his grind, you know what I mean? And again, I like what he does, you know what I mean? If y'all have heard his music on the show. But, you know what I mean, let's get straight into it, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So, you know what I mean? Okay, Ronny, my G, you know what I'm saying? I see that you know, your father, you know what I mean, you know, he brought you into the music game.
Yeah, he did, man, at a young age, bro. Yeah, so when I was living in New York, I was living with my mother, you know, and I always would like music here and there, but every once in a while I would hear Natural High on the radio by a group called Bloodstone. It's like, take to the sky on a natural high.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Loving you. Yeah. So she's like, you know that's your daddy, right? And I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I hadn't really met my dad yet. Like, you know, like, because they separated when I was probably like 2 or 3 years old.
Right.
So I'm talking about a 7, 8-year-old kid. Like, that's my dad? Like, you know what I'm saying? On the radio? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, yeah, that's your daddy. So eventually I was in Phoenix, Arizona. And we'll get into that whole little story a little later. Yeah. But it comes from him coming to Phoenix, Arizona, and I was playing some music for me, and I started doing the music right behind him, and he was like, oh, yeah, man, you're a natural. You need to try this out. And he had recording equipment already, like, in the trunk. Mm-hmm. You know, and he just busted out the trunk and, you know, had a studio set up in his hotel room. And we made music, and I had a love for engineering and recording, and just tinkering around with the technical side and the artistic side of music, ever since then. And he kept trying to push me more and more.
That's pretty cool right there, man. I know that was I know it's weird, especially being a kid and you hear your pops on the radio, and then especially with a classic song like that. And I know you didn't know it was a classic at the time, but that's a classic.
Yeah, it was a classic. I knew it was because I was hearing it a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out, I've always been trying to figure out, was I hearing it a lot because my mama was playing it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or was I hearing it a lot because it was just on the radio that much? It could have been either one.
Oh, yeah.
Either way, I'm happy that I got to grow up and, hear a lot of greatness going on, in the household.
Oh, yeah, man. So, Now, I this is just a question I just got to ask, just to joke around with you a little bit, lighten the mood. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Now, when you was working with your pops, you know what I mean? He wasn't, no Joe Jackson, was he? Sing it right, boy.
Oh, no. Nah. I was actually like that with myself, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it was man, I didn't do that right. And he says, man, go on. Sometimes mistakes are good. He was always telling me that. And, I had to learn how to lighten up and not be so perfect when I do the music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I still got a little bit of that in me right now.
No, that's good because you're supposed to be hard on yourself. You know what I mean? Because
yes, sir.
A lot of times we are our biggest critics. You know what I mean? So I completely understand that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what was the, the experience growing up with your moms and, just, you know what I mean? You can go to detail about it yourself, but, the experience with, growing up with your moms.
Okay. Well, it was, I'm going to just say this. My mom was a true Gemini, man.
Gemini?
Right?
I'm a Gemini also.
Okay. Well, for the first portion of my life, I grew up a happy, spoiled kid, always jumping around, you know what I'm saying? Me and my brother. My brother was more of a real hip-hop head, you know what I'm saying? That's where I was hearing the hip-hop from, the old, NWA and all that stuff back in the day. But for some reason, I was into, alternative and, I was into different types of music, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that was a good thing, because it kept my mind state, I was never trying to be the tough kid. I was never really worried about so much of what I'm wearing and stuff like that as far as what the fashion is going with at the time. Right. I was kind of carefree, and she kept me happy. She bought me all the video games. I used to just pop up with new games all the time. Some of the kids in the school used to come over my house and hang out, and I had every game that was set up, and people was like, "Oh, he rich," you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I didn't get it, but I go from living that life. Me and my brother, we had a couple of little struggles here and there in New York, and I hated all that snow. I can't forget that. We had a lot of snowstorms, and I'm talking about waist deep snow walking to school and shit like that. But yeah, that part of my life was real nice, man. I think about it, on a regular basis, But then, once I hit about, once I got to be about 14, we made a move. My mom had had another kid, so now it was three of us. It was my younger brother, myself, and my older brother. And my older brother ended up going to jail. So he got left behind. He got left behind in New York, and then we moved to Arizona.
Oh, he got locked. He got locked up on the East Coast.
Yes, sir. He got locked up out there, and I was mad. Dang, when my brother gone, you know what I'm saying? Because we way out here, But shit, at the time I was 14. He's 5 years older than me, so he was. You know what I'm saying? He was 19, so
right.
My mom was like, he'd be all right, anyway.
And I'm pretty sure that was hard, though.
Yeah, it was hard. You know, it was my first dose of split up. You know what I mean? But once we got to Arizona, you know, she met a new younger man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, started letting a little loose. Just a whole nother side of her came out that I wasn't really knowing existed. You know what I'm saying? And shit. One of the things is we ended up starting to hustle. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, yeah, like it was like my mom, myself, and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was really the dude that was doing his thing, and I thought it was cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And my mom like, oh, you think that's cool? Then I can just do what I want to do. Then you know what I'm saying? And you know, we started making a lot of money and started having a whole lot of friends over and a whole lot of the opposite of what I was already living. And I thought it was extra cool just because it was the opposite. Right. You know, and and my brother wasn't around, so it was like, I'm that now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm listening to hip hop and now I'm rapping and you know what I'm saying? Right.
And how old are you during this time? Like, you know, like going through like the, you know, the hustling and everything with your mom.
So I'm like 14, and I say that lasted a good 2 years or so. But it took a real bad turn. Yeah. So in the midst of all this, one day, my mom and her boyfriend decided that they was gonna go on some kind of a mission or some kind of a overnight stay somewhere. Yeah. And she called me and was like, hey, I was going to come back tonight, but, you know, it's a change of plans and I'm going to be there and I'll be back in probably like a couple of days. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? I was 15 at this time. Okay. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're not coming back? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I got a full blown spot right here. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's people coming knocking on my door every 15 minutes. Yeah. You know, and I got a kid in here. You know? Yeah. My little brother was still there. He was about 8 years old. Anyway, that couple of days turned into about 8 months
of just had to do it on your own, take care of you and your little brother.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You know, I was sitting there like, man, I don't know what the hell's going. I don't know what's going to go on. You know what I'm saying? And she's just relying on me being, you know, strong headed. You know what I'm saying? And just doing the thing the best I can. But yeah, I made it work. Yeah. You know, I would just go and make sure the money order was in the management's box. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
Before they had a reason to come and ask. You know, I was having trouble in school because my little brother was going to school. His started after my school started because I was in high school. He was in elementary. Right. My school started at 7. His school started at 8. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm late every day. I got to leave school. It ends at 3. His school ends at 2. Yeah. So I'm struggling there. So eventually I just stopped going for a minute. And one of the days that I didn't go, I get a knock at the door. Uh-huh. And I go open the door thinking it's like another customer or whatever. Right. And it's my dad standing there, and I haven't seen him
in years.
Years and years. Like, he's like standing there like, what's up, son? I'm like, how the hell you find me in a project in Phoenix? Right. Where I'm serving at, and you have no knowledge of me being in Phoenix. So I slammed the door in his face. Boom. Right. You know, because I got stuff in here. I got stuff in here, and I'm like, he can't see this, man. I don't want that going on. Yeah. But he came in, and I opened the door eventually, and just like, you know, he ain't been here all this time. It's the time for him to see what I am. He either gonna like it or not like me, but either way, I'm gonna still be here. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you had to do what you had to do. I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, so he comes in and he's like, you know, this is around the time where he take me and my little brother out, you know, have some fun and listen to the music. And that's what the conversation was. Like, man, you don't got to do that stuff that you've been doing over there, man. You need to start making some music. Like, let me show you how to do this. Like, I got the equipment.
Yeah,
he's
showing. You know, so he's trying to show you how to seriously do it now.
He's trying to. This is how it started. That's how it started right there. Like, he's like trying to take. He's basically trying to take me out of what I'm doing without judging me.
Right.
That's how I took it, you know, and I respected that, you know. Because, you know, he didn't come at me like, oh, you know, come down on me or nothing. He hadn't been there at the time. You know, I knew who he was, but, I was still in this situation, you know?
Yeah, of course. Now, during this time, you know, like with all the turmoil and everything that you was going through, you know what I mean? And I know this is a touchy subject, but is this around the time that your brother was murdered, or was that?
No. No. When I was in Arizona with that, this was when my mother showed up finally after all these months, and that was the first time I seen my parents in the same room.
Oh wow!
And that was crazy. So her boyfriend showed up, and we had a serious altercation, and my dad ended up taking me back to LA. And that's how, when I came to LA, and I've been in LA ever since. I started going to this school. It's an infamous high school. It's called Locke High School. Oh, okay. But I was going to Locke High School, and I hadn't heard from my mom once again. Like, I was like, dang, where's my mom? Like, you know, so I eventually one of my family members came up to my school and like called me out of class to tell me that, you know, my mom had been murdered, you know, and her and her boyfriend were murdered, and my little brother was in New York with his dad. So my older brother was still in school. I mean, was still in jail.
Right.
At the time. Yeah.
So he was still in prison on the East Coast when your mother and her boyfriend had got murdered.
Actually, he was in regular jail. Like, at the time, he wasn't in prison. Mm-hmm. I think he had got released before the funeral happened and everything, because I see like pictures of the funeral and stuff, and he was in them. But I was upset about it because I'm like, okay, y'all, when is the funeral? Oh my God, my mom just was killed, like, out here. And they was like, oh man, the funeral was like 3 months ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that was
you didn't even know.
No, I didn't know. I was wondering like why my mama never called me again. You know, so all of the situation, like when you asked me how was life with my mom, it was a big deal in my life that molded me, you know, that had a mindset that I have to be, you know, strong about loss and strong about hustling and the value of, you know, hard work.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know,
and that's a hard way to find out, you know what I mean, about, you know, everything that happened with your mother, you know, the way that you had to find out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a crazy thing, man. And, you know, it made me want to just keep on blocking it out and do music, you know. So that's one of the reasons why I started going even harder with my music.
Right.
But I never really got a chance to make a song about this topic because it's hard to like relive it.
Yeah.
Because when I make the music, I'm not just gonna make rhymes about it and just say it. I literally live that moment when I'm spitting it, like, cause I can see my words. Like I'm a visual artist, you know. I picture the situation before, you know, I get on the mic.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know, and yeah, so, you know, that's how life was. In that situation, it was a great life growing up, and it was a really hard life during the last couple of years of having her.
Yeah, and
but
and I'm sorry, you know what I mean, to hear that, you know what I mean, because those things, you know, they never easy to deal with. I understand. I lost my mom, not the same way, but I'm just saying, you know, I lost my mom too. So I understand, man. You got my condolences on that, my bro.
Oh yeah, man, no problem, bro. Thank you. I'm sorry for your loss too.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, but I try to stay rapping about those type of topics now. Like for a minute, when I was trying to block out like what was going on in my life, and you know, over the years, I was just making music that was, you know, that sounded good to me. Like I was making music that was just like, you know, because a lot of the music I was hearing on the radio, I was just like, all right, it's cool, but it would have been better like this.
Right.
You know,
right.
So I started making better music, you know, right. And eventually I started running into these people that I was listening to their music. I started running into a lot of them and networking and shaking hands and rubbing elbows with them. And, you know, it's leading me up to like, right now, being able to, you know, be heard.
Now, because now going through the music process, right? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Who's some of those people, you know what I'm saying, you ran into in the early stages of, you know what I mean, doing what you're doing?
Okay. So, one of the people that I ran into that was an influence to me, that I was listening to their music and like really vibing out to their shit, with Busta Rhymes, man. I was in a party at Polo the Don's house. I was in a party at Polo's house, and I run into Busta Rhymes and I walk up to him and I tell him like, yo, like I just want you to know, like, man, you one of the people that inspired me to even want to rap, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he was real cool, man. I didn't know what to expect, but I just had to speak to him, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, you know, my nigga. That's what he came at me with, and told me to take a shot with him, you know, and we chopped it up for a minute, and, you know, I just felt at home, you know, with this music world, because they looked at me with respect, like I was, you know, one of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't feel like a fan, but I was feeling like a fan. Like,
you can't help it. I understand. I mean, when you want to be in a room with, you know what I mean, greats. Like, I mean, let's just be honest. Like, they some greats. You know what I mean? So you can't help but to fan a little bit, but you kind of got to be on your professionalism at the same time.
Yeah, man. But it was a great thing, man. Like, I met a lot of people, and the funny thing is, like, a lot of these people that I met, it wasn't even a situation like, we in the studio, we about to work. Like, you know, it was a situation like, you know, we actually cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we chilling, we partying, and we hanging out. And every time I run into you in the studio, it's like, hey, come in here and hear my song, and come in here and hear my song. And eventually we start working together through mutual people or whatever. But, you know, right now I feel like with the mindset that I'm in right now of being an artist that's working, you know, on my own shit and not like being a writer as much, that all it would take is for me to like walk in a room and see these people that I knew before, and it'd be right back where it was. You know, I really like that I was able to establish a relationship with most of these people first.
And that's good. You know what I mean? That's real good, because you got to establish those relationships. Now, when you say, you know what I mean, you're not as much of a writer as you used to be, explain that.
Well, a lot of the time, I was in the studio, like I said, I wasn't in there, like, making a record myself.
Right.
And then we all get together and sit down and write together. I had my writing partner. Yeah. We would sit down and we would make music before the studio, and then we would go to the studio and present songs to people, and then they do it. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay. So y'all
every once in a while, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You all right? So y'all would present songs for like other people to sing, or? Yeah,
you know, it was like, you know, we was a writing team, so it was like, we got a situation like, we working with them today, you know, so we'll go in there, play the record for the artist. If the artist like the song, they do it. You know what I'm saying? And it will be like that. But eventually it turned into, hey, y'all come to the studio, and we'll go to the studio and sit down and all vibe out and write together. Right. But it still would be a record that is not mine. You know what I'm saying? So it would be like, oh, I'm a writer, you know? So every once in a while I would get a feature.
No doubt. So is this when you like quit, like left the streets completely alone, or are you still kind of, you know what I mean, dabbling in the streets to you know what I mean, to survive and still trying to manage, you know, the music and the streets, or you just completely said forget the streets at this time?
Well, it's really hard to say that, you know, you just left the street, you know what I'm saying, while you've been living in LA, because it's so much of the streets tied into everything that you do. Like, you know, like as far as like with music, like look at the situation with Nipsey Hussle. Like he was really an entrepreneur, and he was doing a lot of great things for the city, but he was still heavily tied in the streets. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even if he would move away, but the streets would probably come to him. The same people that would be in the streets over here was the same people over there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you don't never really get rid of it, you know?
And speaking of which,
it's just
speaking
go
of,
ahead. I'm sorry.
You all right? So speaking of which, right, like still trying to do the music and being involved in the streets, you know what I mean, in a sense or whatever. Now you going through all of that, right? And you end up getting shot yourself.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that's an unfortunate situation, but you know, it happens to the best of us, you know, here and there. I was hanging out with a few of my friends. Actually came to visit some of my friends from somewhere else, kind of like when like we were just talking about with the Nipsey situation. He lived somewhere else and came back, and then that happened. Right. So I was living somewhere else and came and visit some of my people, and shit, somebody rolled up and just opened fire on everybody and chased us down the alley, and it turned out to be 2 cars, and like it was crazy. Like, you know, I made it out of that situation by the grace of God. Like, honestly, you know, I left that situation unable to walk for, you know, a good period of time. I spent a nice long time in a wheelchair. After that, I ended up walking with a cane for like 3 years, and I had to teach myself how to, you know, function the same way everybody else can, you know what I mean? And now, you know, I think I did a good job at that.
Yeah. So you ended up pretty much getting wrong place, wrong time? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was the wrong place at the wrong time. But, you know, like you said, with the street shit, like it's really hard to be in the right place at the right time. Exactly. You know, stuff just happens like randomly all day, you know. But
most definitely.
Like I said, it was the grace of God, you know.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And through going through all that, you know what I mean, and with your moms and, you know what I mean, you getting shot and, you know, losing your brother and everything like that, where does your inspiration come in, you know, to make the music that you make? Because I know it's hard to find inspiration sometimes when you got so much going on around you.
Well, what it is since there's so much going on around me, it creates a heavy space of anxiety. And one of the ways that I always knew how to cope with my anxiety was to sit down, put my headphones on, and vibe out to some good music, you know. And I'm gonna be honest, it's like a shortage of that right now. And with that going on, it motivates me to just go ahead and make the music myself, and you know, and be that artist for myself, and be that artist for all the people that, you know, are in need of that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be that artist that everybody else can go and sit down and put their headphones on and vibe out to it, and, you know, release some stress.
Catch that real feel of what people really go through, because everybody ain't riding in Bugattis and shit.
Exactly. You know, like, Shit, I was just watching something the other day. It's this guy named Crank Lucas. He's a rapper, a comedian, but he be saying some real stuff sometimes. Yeah,
I like Crank Lucas.
He had a video in the studio. He was like, okay, rap in the 80s. And everybody in the 80s was like, yo, like, we struggling out here. We got to get it. You know, we got to help the community and clean these drugs off the street. Right? Then the next, the 90s rapper is like, man, we struggling, we hustling, trying to, you know, just so we can feed my daughter, you know.
Right.
But that turned into, yeah, nigga, we hustling and we balling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's all I want to do. If I wasn't a hustler, I don't know what I'd do.
Right.
All the way to now, I can't. From me growing up in all these different generations, I can't relate to the, oh, I'm high as ever. I can't feel my face.
Right.
I'm off of lean and pills and weed and Xannies, and I can't do it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Right. So what I feel like is listening to all of these rappers that are talking about that in a depressed state, being depressed. I don't want to feel like that, you know. I want to motivate you. I want to tell you a story, like, you know what I'm saying. I can't get into all that stuff that's been going on lately. I'm not knocking nobody, because a lot of these artists are forced to make that kind of music just on behalf of they trying to get in, you know.
Right. Now,
but go ahead.
Yeah. Now with all of that, you know what I'm saying. Like I said, with everything you go through, been through, and things of that nature that inspire you to do what you're doing, it inspired the song "Get Right," right?
Yes, sir.
And you shot that video in Greece?
Yeah. I was.
Tell me about that experience.
Greece.
Yeah, tell me about that experience.
Okay. So, which experience, the video or the process of the record? Right?
Both. Let's talk about the process of the record. Then let's talk about you know what I'm saying, how the video shoot and everything, and how you ended up going to Greece to do it.
Okay. Well, the process of the record, it was just like, you know, I was just feeling like I need to get right. You know what I'm saying? Everything that was going on in my life needed to take a change, because I've been letting too much life pass me by, and it's time to get out and live it. You know what I mean? So, parts of living life as a man, you know, you gotta start a family. You gotta be needed within that family and contribute to it. Right. You gotta motivate other people around you to want to, you know, get right, just so that y'all can relate. You know what I mean? Right. Stuff like that's what that record was for me. And I actually started living that. And you know, I have a daughter, a lovely daughter. I raised her.
No doubt.
I got married. You know, I have a lovely wife.
No doubt.
And for our honeymoon, it was like, I still want to live. I want to keep on doing it. I'm having fun doing this, you know?
Right.
So we said, we going to go out of the country and do some international. So we went out to Greece. And within being in Greece, I was just feeling like I'm living out this record. I'm living this record. So I just said, you know what, we got to shoot this video out there. And you want to know a coincidence, bro? While I was in Greece,
uh-huh,
I stumbled across the Real Hip Hop Show.
Really?
And I heard Get Right
while you was there
on the Real Hip Hop Show while I'm there, and I sent you a text.
Yeah, I remember.
And I'm like, yo, like, you know, I think this is the first conversation I had with you.
Yeah.
And I was in Greece, and I'm like, yo, man, like, you just played my shit, man. Like, you just played me right after KRS-One. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what's this about? Like, you know what I'm saying? And you were like, yeah, man, this song is dope, man. A lot of people love it. Like, so, you know, I'm shooting a video right now.
Yeah, because that's one of those moments that lets you know, like, okay, I got to do this. You know what I mean? And it's one of my, because I got a lot of your music, and I played a lot of your music, but that Get Right song, yeah, that's, I could feel that, like, personally. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm talking about, man. That's exactly the goal that I have. Like, that's the artist that I want to be. I want you to feel that shit personally. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And so during your time in Greece and you started shooting a video and everything, like, walk us through that. Like, walk us through Greece. Because, you know, a lot of us, the closest Greece we ever been to was what? Chicken Greece? So, you know what I mean? That's the closest Greece we ever been.
Well, look, the thing is, I was on my honeymoon in Greece, so it was a beautiful situation. You know, I was feeling good. You know, we had a lot of things planned, and it was like, I can't like have this moment go by me without documenting this, you know.
Right.
So we stayed right in the heart of Greece in Athens. You know, saw all the historical stuff. Like, you know, I saw the Tower of Zeus. I mean, the Temple of Zeus.
Yeah.
We saw the Acropolis. You know, that was like the main thing out there.
Yeah.
Man, we went to a few islands. You know, we spent some time on the water. You know, it was a good thing, and it was inspiring to me artistically, you know, and I captured a lot of that stuff in this video, and when I release it, I really hope everybody can, like, feel how, you know, feel an inspiration and want to do the same. Like, you know, traveling is a great thing, man. It'll open a lot of horizons for you.
Yeah, and that's the definition of getting right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of just getting drunk and high and bullshit, you know what I mean? Like, we gotta get right out here, man. I understand exactly what you mean, man.
Absolutely.
Another one I like that you made, Fool's Gold. That's another one that you that's gonna be a single too, right?
Oh yeah, man. It's out right now on all platforms. You can go see that on YouTube. But if you're proud to pay, you can go pick that up at Apple Music or whatever right now. I put that out. Actually, been working on a lot of music, but I really like that record a lot because it hit close to home for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's the same way like Get Right. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of people have times in their life where everybody likes them more when they're doing bad. Like, you know,
yeah, exactly.
I like you more when you like me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you start doing things for yourself that inspire others, the people that were already originally around you don't feel like the other people that don't know you feel. Like, for some reason, a lot of that happens a lot, you know?
Right.
And, you know, that's the song for them. Like, the people that surround you that tarnish, you know what I'm saying? If they was gold and turn green, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's
man.
what the record is symbolized. It symbolizes the change in what you thought was beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a lot of fake love and shit like that.
Yeah, all that.
All of it.
You know, it can come from any direction too.
Yeah, most definitely, man. So, what's next? You know what I mean, for Ronny Too Real, man?
Well, right now, I just shot the video for that as well, so I'll be releasing that video in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna start promoting for that. Hopefully, people love that. So once that gets done, I'm gonna start putting out more visuals, like the Get Right video.
Right.
I wanted to save that for when people are paying attention more. You know what I mean? Yeah. Shout out to all the listeners. You know what I'm saying? Get that. Go pick that up. Go tune in. Man, I got a whole lot of other things in the making that I really don't want to bring up that much because it's still in the stages of creation. But I got a lot of ideas that are definitely going to change the game for a lot of artists that are local. And man, it's going to be big. You know, that's as much as I want to say about that topic specifically.
No doubt.
But
no doubt, man. Let people know where they could, you know what I'm saying, follow you and find your music and all that good stuff right there.
Well, like I said, you can find my music on all platforms. If you're willing to pay, the Apple Music, Amazon. But if you want to just hear it, you can Spotify, stream it, or YouTube. At Ronny Too Real. My social media. I'm on Facebook as Ronald Bell Jr. That's my original handle, my original Facebook. My Instagram is Ronny_2_real. There's a couple of fake ones riding around out there. I'm flattered. But the real me is Ronny_2_real. Ronny Too Real on Twitter. That's really the only things that I actually be on. So if you on any other social media and see a Ronny Too Real, then it's a robot.
No doubt. Now I ask everybody this question. I don't care who you is, where you from, how you do it. What what advice or what type of things would you say to underground, up and coming local artists, or what independent artists that's trying to grind, that's even trying to put themselves in the positions that you in and positions that you've been in? What would you say to those people?
I'm gonna say, anything that you believe you can do, or anything you believe that you can't do, you write about that.
Yeah, I like that.
So believe in yourself. Even if people not listening to you, the minute you decide to turn around on it, the next day you're going to look back at it and it's going to be something there that drag you back into what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? If you really believe in that shit. And if you don't believe in it, then maybe you was reaching. Maybe it just wasn't something that was for you.
Right.
But it doesn't mean you're necessarily wrong with trying.
No doubt.
No doubt. So just believe in whatever it is that you're going to do. Music, podcasts, reporting, social media, whatever it is that you do. If you find some joy in it, keep trying.
No doubt, man.
And believe in yourself. Yeah.
No doubt. And I most definitely believe in what you're doing. Here at the Real Hip Hop Show for sure, man. And I really appreciate, all the support that you've given. And because see, what they don't know is Ronny Too Real helps out behind the scenes with my show on things that y'all don't be knowing about. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Man, I appreciate you, man. Really, I like the artists that you play. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
I like the Watkins General. I like the N.O. Diamonds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm listening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is what I do on my Sunday when I watch the live show, and I also listen to the stream.
No doubt. I appreciate it again, man. I mean, if it's anything you want to add on before we get up out of here, we can, but,
Right. What I want to say is, everybody that's listening to this, if you are an artist that really want to be heard, you want to be able to go and click on something and show somebody that, oh, look, I'm in the lineup next to whoever, go to the Real Hip Hop Show, man.
Appreciate
that. Go to the Real Hip Hop Show, The Real Hip Hop Show at yahoo.com, and Real is REEL. If you just in case you don't want to send it to the wrong place, right. I want to give a shout out to Extreme Radio and J Real. Shout out to Tim. You know what I'm saying? He always Big looking T, out.
What up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And man, just keep up doing what you doing, J Real, and I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. No doubt. And let's just watch this. Watch this whole thing blow up, bro.
Most definitely, my G. And I want you to introduce, your song, either I ain't gonna lie, I like food. I like Get Right. I can't help it. That's my joint. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Introduce that joint for him, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and play that joint. You know what I mean? Let him hit it.
All right, y'all. The song that we was just talking about, I shot the video in Greece. I flew around the world to shoot this video and spend some time with my loved ones. You know what I'm saying? Man, support your boy, man. Go check out this song, Get Right by Ronny Too Real.
Cheer. Y'all make sure y'all holler at your boy, man. We're going to check this Ronny Too Real out. We're going to play this. You know what I mean? Ronny Too Real, man. Thank you for stopping by, man. Thanks for being a dope MC. Thanks for just, you know what I mean, just being who you are, man. Keep being an inspiration, man, and keep doing what you doing, bro.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Already,
Word
man.
up.
Thanks again, G.
All right. Peace out.
Peace. All right, y'all. We're going to get into this Ronny Too Real joint. You know what I mean? It's that Get Right. Check it out.
This one is special. Rock with me, go. Maybe it's the way a nigga live. Or maybe it's something that I done did. Or maybe it's something I should've did. Whatever it is, it's what it is. Maybe I just need to go to church. Maybe this is punishment for doing so much dirt. Maybe this is a chance for me to sit back and observe. Cause I may not be ready for what I think I deserve. Time to put in work. Time to put in work. Time to get them up and hit them where it hurts. I'm composing rhymes, later on they gon' be quotes. Mesmerizing lines, all the homies say I'm dope. Look at my watch as time flies. Ticking away and I realize that I need more control in my life. Cause I done missed some things I won't get to miss twice. Damn. I never got to see mama get buried. I missed the chance to see my dad get married. I wasn't there to hear my daughter cry for the first time. It's my brother's whole life. Man, I done let so much life pass me by. Man, I done let too much life pass me by. But it ain't going down like that this time. I feel like it's a sign telling me to get right. Time for a change and I'm ready for it. Now my daughter a toddler and steady growing. She my life, now my friends are only opponents. And the rest of y'all looking like my opponents. Struggle. Hustle. I swear it started to feel like a disease. The grind of how you just as hooked as all the fiends. But I'm breaking out of it. I'm on some other shit. I'm trying to ball like I went to college, my scholarship. Been under pressure lately and it's breaking me. You want the best for me, then pray for me. Something out of nothing is a statement that just don't apply to me. While I was sitting around, time flew away from me. Damn. I never got to see mama get married. I missed the chance to see my dad get married. I wasn't there to hear my daughter cry for the first time. It's my brother's whole life. Man, I done let so much life pass me by. Man, I done let too much life pass me by. But it ain't going down like that this time. I feel like it's a sign telling me to get right. Time keeps slipping away. Watch the hours and days turn into years. The people you love and the people you hate, watch them fade away until they disappear. But it's all in the background. There ain't no looking back now. It ain't no turning back those hands of time. There ain't no pause button and it ain't no rewind. I never got to see mama get buried. I missed the chance to see my dad get married. I wasn't there to hear my daughter cry for the first time. It's my brother's whole life. Man, I done let so much life pass me by. Man, I done let too much life pass me by. But it ain't going down like that this time. I feel like it's a sign telling me to get right. Silver turn pink, gold turn green, and niggas switch up on their team. Silver turn pink, gold turn green, and niggas switch up on their team. Fake niggas gon' shine forever. Only real niggas shine forever. The real niggas shine forever. My life's full of cold. I heat it up with my rhyming. Christmas they gave me cold. I turn that shit into diamonds. Ride around in the roads that's sprouted out of the concrete. And all the pricks are leaving those behind me. I'd rather my enemies scream fuck you to my face than a knife to the back by friends who plead a case of loyalty. If even God's son felt the wrath, who the hell am I to think that I'd be immune to that? Niggas smiling in my face, they handshakes. I leave them hanging, playing like they hard as solid gold, but I know what's plated. Was happy when I made it, but that all changed. When niggas turn fake, then they gold change.
Silver turn pink, gold turn green, and niggas switch up on their team.
Fake niggas don't shine forever. Only real niggas shine forever. That real niggas shine together. And it feel good to see people jump on it, but how about when they all fall off? It hurts, don't it? That's why I'm grinding overtime, chasing my moment. I be damned if I leave my loved ones in the cold hungry, but if you ain't my blood and you ain't